Nothing defines horror quite like Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask killer who has cemented himself as one of the most popular horror icons of all time. With slasher movies reaching their height in the 1980s, a game based off the Friday the 13th movie was inevitable. So in 1989, we got Friday the 13th on the Nintendo Entertainment System. This game was not your typical platform game with Jason as the final boss though. The game takes place at Camp Crystal Lake, where you can control 6 camp counselors, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, as they try to survive through 3 nights of pure horror. The counselors aren't the only ones at risk though, because there are cabins full of kids that need to be protected from Jason as well. I always found this odd since I never seen Jason kill any kids in the films. You'll start the game by picking a counselor and fighting through endless waves of zombies that climb out of the ground. Every counselor is only armed with stones at first, but you can find weapons such as knives and machetes with a little bit of searching. Since the stones are the weakest weapon that fly at an arc, it is best to get a knife for each counselor as soon as possible to improve damage and accuracy for your main weapon. As I mentioned before, each counselor has different strengths and weaknesses, but overall Mark is the best character, with Chrissy being a close second. These two are the key counselors you will want to find the best weapons for and keep alive to ensure survival. You can change counselors on the fly by entering small cabins and then using the map screen to switch counselors. While you're venturing through the camp or the woods and caves around it, you'll periodically hear an alarm go off, meaning that someone is in trouble, be it another counselor or one of the 15 kids that you have to protect. You'll know where trouble is brewing thanks to the flashing cabin on the map you can view on the pause screen. Once you reach the location that triggered the alarm, you will confront Jason. Battles with Jason aren't particularly difficult on the first day, since he's slow and predictable. But on day 2 and 3, Jason gets significantly faster and will test your reflexes. You'll engage in a series of small battles with him where you take a certain amount of his life and he'll run away. If you choose to pursue him, you'll occasionally get the chance to fight him outside where you'll have to dodge the axes he throws at you while you attempt to unload on him. An effective strategy is to avoid fighting Jason in cabins, since he is much easier to fight outside and can damage you less. Eric and I used this strategy amongst some others to successfully defeat Jason in our game night episode in the past. If you want to find out all the strategies we used to defeat Jason, check out our video. There is not a lot going on in the sound department of this game. The main soundtrack you listen to while outside consists of 16 repeating notes that loop over and over, which makes the music become annoying pretty quick. Aside from the annoying outdoor music, once you enter a cabin, the music becomes very ominous. And as you read notes, light fireplaces, and collect items, everything seems to come together to set the tone of the game very well. The general game sounds are pretty standard, and the only sound effect that really stands out is when you encounter Jason. That sound effect alone still puts me on an alert for an adrenaline-rushed battle, which is very fitting for this game. The visuals of Friday the 13th are a mixed bag. On one hand, you have dynamically changing backgrounds and a pseudo 3D view when you're in the cabin scattered all around. On the other hand, there is a small roster of enemies and only 2 bosses, Jason and his mother, that is completely optional and is a hidden surprise when you are not looking for her. The limited amount of enemies can be considered a good thing though, since the movies are focused on one main antagonist. Your characters are all palette swap sprites, but that was common on the NES games. So all in all, you still can't be too critical of an NES game that lets you play as 6 different characters and has day to night transitions, and can even get pretty creepy at times, especially when getting lost in the woods after dark. Friday the 13th is a game I grew up with that I will always remember, not just because it scared me or frustrated me with its steep learning curve as a kid, but because it was a game like no other I had played at the time, with a survival horror style gameplay and the surprise factor of encountering Jason while playing. I know I'm a minority when I say I can appreciate and enjoy this game at times, but anyone who is a fan of the film should easily find some enjoyment when trying this one out.